5 tips to keep your story momentum going. Let's get into it. Tip number 1, be honest with yourself and readjust goals if necessary. The most important thing in this process is that you're honest with yourself. If you're this far into your writing challenge of NaNoWriMo and you're feeling like completely overwhelmed, then that is something you need to be honest with yourself about. That is kind of what NaNoWriMo is made for, is it's built for pushing yourself, but it's not supposed to push you at the cost of your creativity or your sanity. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, overstretched, or just bogged down because crazy things came up in life, then it might be time to readjust your goals and be honest with yourself about it. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, what is it that you really want to accomplish this month? It might be the 50,000 words, and you might be on track for that. But if you're feeling like you're behind, the worst thing you can do is let that drag you down and kill your progress. And so readjusting your goal, whether that means 20,000 words or just getting through the messy middle of your novel, that is a better goal to set. I still highly encourage you to participate in the challenge and participate with your fellow writers in this challenge, but you do need to sometimes readjust those goals for yourself. When you keep things realistic, the journey just feels more exciting. Tip number 2, no 0 days. Even if you've had the craziest day and all you can do is write a couple of words, make sure you get those down. Even if you only write 5 words, you write them. The magic of no 0 days is that it means that your novel will be complete one day. There is a certain point in which the amount of words you're writing every day will match the amount of words that are required to tell your story, and you will reach the end. But if you have 0 days, then it becomes a question of if again. And oftentimes, if you are in the middle of trying to get those few words in, then sometimes a few more words will come after that, and you'll get a little inspired, and you'll find a little more time in the day. Tip number 3, you need to have a panic plan. We just talked about no 0 days. You need to have a plan for what happens if you do have a couple 0 days and those start adding up. You need to find where is that cutoff point, what denotes an actual panic in your writing journey. Is it not writing for 2 days? Is it not writing for 5 days? But there is a threshold there where we all kind of know, if we haven't written for that long, that it's going to be harder and harder to get back into it. So you need to have a panic plan for what happens in that case. It could just be that you're going to sit down and write anything. It could be that you need to just write another 5 words and then double that the next day. You can come up with different things, but having a panic plan in place and a little red flag for yourself for when you think, I'm getting off track here and I've lost my momentum, that's okay. That happens. But if you just let it happen and you don't have a plan in place, then it's easy for you to completely lose track of where you need to go and what you need to do in terms of finishing your project. Tip number 4, and this one coincides really heavily with tip number 2, it's redefining success. And this is less about the goal setting part of it, more about changing your mentality about things. It's easy, especially if you're writing with other people, to look at their success and feel like that's a failure on your part. But realistically, you are competing with yourself. And so you need to redefine your success metrics and what will make you feel like a successful writer internally as well as the external goal. Just ask yourself, what would success look like to you right now? What if it weren't NaNoWriMo and this was just a normal month, and how much you've written thus far? Would you pat yourself on the back for that? And if the answer is yes, then pat yourself on the back for that and make sure that you're giving yourself credit for the progress that you have made. It's important to recognize that some writers are just better at writing quickly, and that might not be you. So redefine what success means for you. And tip number 5, this one coincides with tip number 3. Sometimes, especially with a panic plan, you need to change your scenery and search for inspiration. So if you are stuck and you feel like you can't make any progress on your story, sometimes just going to a public library, go to some of your favorite places, go to a museum or the movies or something else, and find that inspiration for your story. Remind yourself why you're doing the things that you're doing. Make sure that if you do feel inspired about your story, while you're out and about, that you write those things down. And this may sound like it is an excuse to just go do something fun and use writing as the reason for why you have to go do that fun thing. And that is exactly what it is. You need to be able to live your life and enjoy the things that you enjoy. And sometimes sitting at the keyboard and just laboring over what should come next in your story is not the best way to keep the flow going. Often the things out there that will inspire you are unexpected. It might be a conversation that you overhear from strangers, or a painting, or some weird art, or, whatever else it might be. So go find it. Above all, remember that NaNoWriMo isn't about perfection. It's not about getting the perfect draft. It's about you becoming a better writer. And if you're doing that, then you're doing great. And keep that in mind so you can keep your momentum going forward and you can reach the end of your project. Good luck.